What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we are up at Dick Lovett BMW Motorrad in Bristol to take out this BMW GS Adventure 1250. Let's stop standing around, let's get out on the bike on the open road. As you can see, Zoe is over there. She has taken out the GS850 Trophy, I believe. Quote me if I'm wrong. Trophy is the colour, just been told. Wind protection is a lot better on this. Even in the lowest point, it's a lot smoother air, like cleaner air. Whereas, say, the other one, up or down, it was like bah, 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 bah. Whereas this is the highest, and I feel like I can talk. Whereas on the other one, I didn't feel like I could talk. With BMW, they've obviously got the two lineups for the GSA, and that is going to be just GSA, which is the standard one, or the GSA TE. And the TE basically means that BMW put all the goodies on as like an extra package to save you adding them on to the standard GSA. By goodies, I mean heated grips, I mean cruise control, quick shifter up and down, all the little bits that we know and love. And I can tell you right now, at the back end of January, 8 degrees, heated grips is a welcome addition. If you are looking for a GS 1250, other than the GS Adventure, which is this one, you do have the standard GS. And the GS also comes in TE. The main difference between the standard GS and the GS Adventure, two parts. The first thing you're going to notice is this tank. It is huge. By that, I mean this tank is 30 litres big, getting you around 300 miles to a tank, depending on how you ride. The standard GS only has a 23 litre tank. I say only because that's still a big tank, it's just nowhere near as big as this. I mean, just look at that. Huge. The next thing you're going to notice straight away, the GS is going to have engine crash bars, but the GS Adventure is going to have the crash bars that are going to higher up. Starting at the front of this bike then and working our way back, we've got LEDs all the way around, as you would expect nowadays. We've got adaptive headlights, we've got daytime running lights. With the adaptive headlights, it's also got like a cornering addition to it for the 22, where when you start leaning it in over 7 degrees, that's when the light starts to kind of follow you around into the corner. BMW have got this really nice kind of X shape of the running light in their headlights. I think it looks really nice. Moving on to the indicators will always stay on as well, but in like a the brightness of them will be 20%, and then when you start indicating, it goes to 100% and then drops down. So it just increases the amount of light that is shown from the front of your bikes. Talking about the extra bit of light, one of the packages you can add onto this is the light package. That package gives you the auxiliary spotlights, which clamp onto the crash bars as well. We've got this actually pretty decent size windscreen, and it can be adjusted by the knob on the right hand side. I kind of don't really understand why it's on the right, because it needs to come off the throttle unless you've got it on cruise control. Me personally, I'd rather it on the left hand side, so my left hand I can then just lean forward and adjust it like so. I done a little stint back there on the motorway, and actually this wind protector was spot on. Even in the lower position, there was air coming onto the helmet, but it wasn't buffeting in a weird way and giving me a bit of a headache. Whereas actually, if you check out my previous video, it's the 1000 XR, and that windscreen in the highest position on the motorway, the buffeting on the helmet was really uncomfortable. So that would have been something I would have changed if I was to get that bike. No dramas with it, works really well. Under the windscreen we have got the GPS bracket and the GPS arm. That is going to be utilised for BMW's own GPS, which I believe is called Navigation 6. If you don't want that, you can take off the bracket and then you've still got the GPS arm, so you can add your own GPS or phone mount. Normally I would add my phone up there, but I've been doing a bit of touring in the VW and I found that the phone loses the signal too much to be utilised as a good European sat-nav. If I was to go abroad, which we are looking this year, I will be getting a sat-nav to be added on, and I'd still mount my phone on the handlebars somewhere. But it's nice to see that the bracket's there. This is a touring bike, obviously, with a tank of this size, the luggage capacity that this bike has. Having the ability to whack on your GPS straight away is spot on. We have got a large 6.5 inch TFT screen, which is used across the top end of BMW's motorbikes. It's big, it shows all the information you need, and so far I've had no issues with sun glare on it. That has been a known problem for other TFT screens, but this one, no dramas, angled really nicely. You do have the gear shifter up and down. This is a big boxer engine. Okay, so if you're going to shift down low, the bike isn't going to like it, and it's going to be a bit clunky, so you are going to get the revs up a little bit before wanting to shift. But coming down, you can just blip through. Big engine, similar size to my 1290 GT. That bike, 6th gear is no good until you're up at about 90 miles an hour, and that's when the sluggishness kind of smooths out. This bike, obviously, better than KTM. 46 miles an hour, and I can just rotate through, and there it goes. Picks up from the bottom. Looking at the handlebars then, right hand side at the top we have got the heated grips. That's got 4 different modes: off, 1, 2, 3, and then you just push it and it'll cycle through, and in the bottom of your screen it will just show you what setting you're in. Underneath that you've got your mode button, and then you can just push them, cycle through. You've got rain, road, dynamic and dynamic pro. Pushed onto the one you want and let it go. Make sure you're off the throttle, and then it will go into that setting, into that rider mode. The dynamic pro, you can adjust the settings on the bike, so you can change the parameters for like the traction control, the ABS, the engine braking, throttle response, wheelie control, things like that. Underneath that, kill start switch. To the left we've got the SOS button. So basically with BMW, if you come off or you have a crash, the bike will send an SOS signal to BMW, and then they'll ring you up to make sure you're okay, and if you're not, then they can send services, emergency services, to your location. On the left hand side, this is where we start getting a bit more of the tech. So we've got those auxiliary lights, little button there, push that once, comes up on the screen, and then our lights are on. Bottom left we've got the horn, we've got our indicators. On the right hand side you've got your suspension button, so you can change between road and dynamic. Dynamic, once again, you can go into the settings and you can adjust how the suspension is going to handle when you flick between the two. To the left we've got our menu button, so we can rotate through, enable us to rotate through different trip menus, different screens. BMW do have a connectivity app, so you can connect your phone and you can have turn-by-turn navigation, so it's not a full sat-nav on it, but it is something. And you use that menu button to go onto that screen. To the left of the menu button we've got this jog dial that spins up and down, and then pushes in to the right, and then pushes to the left as well. So you can use that to scroll through the different menus on the screen, and then push into that option. Above that we've got our hazards, we've got our automatic lights and our daytime runner lights, and then finally cruise control. Cruise control, when it's all the way to the left, that means it's deactivated and you can't turn it on at all. Push it to the right, activates it, and then you're going to push the set and the reset button on the top away, and that's going to set it. So there we go, set, and you're going to pull it towards you to drop the speed, and then you can push it away to increase the speed. To cancel the cruise control, any of the brakes, roll the throttle forward or pull the clutch in. What is wrong with some people? Clearly that wasn't red enough. Other than this big beefy fuel tank on top, you can see this massive boxer engine sitting out either side, and it is huge. One thing, you do need to mind your shins when coming to a stop. I learned that the hard way. But this boxer engine does punch out 136 brake horsepower with 143 newton meters of torque. That means it's going to have a nice grunt when it's down low in the rev range to have a bit of fun, but it's not ridiculous brake horsepower that is not going to be usable in all the areas that this wants to be used, i.e. obviously this is utilised off-road a lot, so you don't want a 200 brake horsepower bike for that. Mirrors, next to no vibrations coming through them, and also they're wide enough that I've got over 3/4 of each mirror that I can see behind me, with my shoulders, like I say, taking up less than 1/4. Pulled over to do a little walk around of the bike, show you some extra bits that you get with this TE model. As we can see, these are the extra crash bars that I said you get on the Adventure line, and this down here is going to be the auxiliary light that you're going to get, and it's just going to be one either side. Like I said, little button on the handlebars that you just push to turn them on. Me personally, if I had this bike, I would just leave them on all the time. This is what I mean by the indicators will stay on all the time, and then they'll get brighter when you obviously start indicating. And then that is the headlight I was on about. Daytime running, stays on all the time. I think that really looks very distinctive. So as another biker, whenever that's coming towards you, you definitely know what is coming there. The obvious thing you want to see when you're going to get a bike like this that can chew up 300 odd miles is the luggage capacity. On the GS Adventure, you are going to get the racks as standard, but these side bags, you've got to see the 2 panniers and then the back box from BMW themselves, is going to set you back around £1,500. It is quite expensive. I had a little look last night on eBay. You can get aftermarket boxes, all 3 for around £700–800. And then you can get like the extension bits to make these taller, and you can get other bags that can then strap on the top. So there is definitely a capability of adapting the amount of luggage that this bike can carry. Another nice added feature is the center stand. You've got the side stand here and then the center stand. So if you are ever out in the green lanes or any areas where you get a puncture or you need to do any form of maintenance, you can obviously whack it up and do it. In the way of maintenance, this is a shaft driven bike, so that means there is no chain, so you don't need to do any chain maintenance. And then the last thing down on the rear of the bike is that it's a single-sided swing arm. We all like those. Ooh. She does look good, and she looks big. When you've got the luggage on, you've got the extended fuel tank. Remember, 30 litres, 23 litres for the standard GS. But if you're getting one of these, you're going to get the Adventure. From there, once you've decided whether you're going to get normal or the Adventure, obviously you've got the standard or the TE. I'd get the TE all day long. Gets you all the extra goodies that you want. With the extra fuel size on this bike, it is going to start bringing up the weight. So this bike does come in at 268 kilos. And on top of that, it's not the smallest. I'm 6'1", and this bike's seat height sits around 890mm. I can get the balls of my feet down, but I can't get the heels down. So it's just something to note if you are a smaller rider, but BMW do have other options, i.e. Smaller seats, and obviously you can then adjust the suspension from there. For a bike of this size, having such a wide handlebar really helps with the handling. It just means you can do a bit of counter steering and it just drops in. You wouldn't think it's 270 kilos almost. You're talking almost 380 kilos with me sat on this. And if these roads were a little bit dry and not covered in mud, I better have some fun. Oh, there we go guys. This has been my first riding review of the BMW GS1250 Adventure TE 2022. If you have enjoyed this video, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video and drop a comment. If you are ever in the area of Bristol, please make sure you head on over to Dick Lovett's BMW Motorrad. It's got a great showroom, an awesome selection of demo bikes for you to ride. And if you do drop in, let me know you saw a video on DSR. And until the next one, ride safe.